Hey, what's up, guys? This is Micah, and this guy beside me here is Dylan. This is Fumble Fever. We're approaching week 6. That's the midway point of college football. Hard to tell, but it's really flew by already so quick.
Almost halfway there.
Yeah, almost halfway there. That is unbelievable. I remember all the times that I spent in the months coming to it, and it just feeling like it would never come, and it's getting ready, and now it's almost over. But being that it's at the halfway point, we've seen a lot of exciting things happen and a lot of interesting players come into fruition this season. And a guy by the name that a lot of people know, especially now, and Sam Howell over in North Carolina has really stepped up as a true freshman. And it led you to pose the question to me earlier in the week as to where I thought that he might go in the future and where his good play might take him. So I thought I'd give you the floor and let you start.
Well, he played pretty much as good as you could against Clemson. Clemson's defense is definitely one of the top 10 teams in the country. But I feel like his talent, he could be at least a first-round pick in 2 years. After this year, I feel like he could be either a first or second round pick at least.
Okay, I like what you said in a sense. I feel like for me, I need to see a little bit more still, just because I guess as a freshman, I like to see how they're going to progress before I start calling necessarily picks in the NFL draft. But I do think that he's been great.
He has poise.
At times. He's got poise in the pocket, like you said. I just see a lot of inconsistencies to me. I also see...
Which you expect as a freshman.
Yeah, you do expect that as a freshman. But I see, for the most part, a wide receiver core surrounding him that is better than what people tend to see or know about right now. I think they're very underrated, possibly one of the most underrated wide receiving cores in the nation right now. And I think they've bailed him out in many of his games. But either way you chalk it up, whether he's great, not great or not, he's definitely became the leader of this team. And he showed that he's the type of guy that you want the ball in his hands. And one play away last week, as you said, from winning that game and beating number 1 Clemson.
Yeah, I don't know why they chose that play call. They should never run option against Clemson. They're way too fast.
I was glad that you said that, because I think a lot of people have been giving them flack about going for 2. I don't disagree with that.
I don't mind the going for 2. It's just you should not run option against Clemson.
Absolutely. 10 times out of 10 in that situation, I'm going for 2. Yeah. Especially given North Carolina's situation, they didn't have much more to really lose, and they had the ball, the way they had the drive going on that game, they definitely felt like there was almost no way he was going to get them out of the end zone. I think you put it in Sam's hands and let him throw the ball, not run the ball, especially because, and as I came to find out after the game, Dabo Swinney was talking about how when they called a timeout right there, North Carolina did, they gave Clemson enough time to reconfigure what they thought they was going to do, and they actually thought in that moment they're going to run the option. They're about to run this ball with Sam Howell, so this probably would have been the time for them to
do like a little tight end slot or something.
Something that tricked them a little bit more.
In the back of the end zone or something.
Yeah, to go ahead and get that win. But the most surprising thing for me, and what I think a lot of people need to realize, is that this North Carolina team in general is a team that was about 3 plays away from 5-0, because they have lost on a heartbreaker at the very end against Clemson. They got a field goal blocked against Appalachian State, and they had a call where it went out of bounds against Wake Forest, and there should have been 1 second left on the clock. So a lot of disappointing things for North Carolina, and this is by far the best 2-3 team I think I've ever seen. Yeah. But it's not that I've ever seen, but I'll rephrase that. This year that I've seen this year, definitely one of the best in the country. But if I go back to the play for Sam Howell, I do think that he could potentially get to that part where he's great.
Do you
He's
think?
just
Do you
not
think
there
he?
yet.
You think he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks coming out when he leaves?
It's hard to say. I actually already like him better than I liked Mitchell Trubisky for North Carolina a few years ago.
Not hard to do though.
I suppose. Well,
Because
he
he
done
wasn't
okay.
he wasn't really that impressive to me.
He wasn't impressive to me either in college. Then he made it to the NFL and kind of surprised me a little bit with how he's been able to lead the Bears offense to production type levels. Not good, not numbers, but better than how it has been. Yeah, he's done just enough. So I think already just from watching him, he could possibly go down better than Mitchell Trubisky was, which is, as far as North Carolina quarterbacks go, is a fairly tall order. But I'm not sure that he gets first or even second round, maybe late third, late fourth round.
You think
pick.
it's going to be like a steal in like a late round?
Yeah, I think it could be. Maybe something similar to what we're seeing with Gardner Minshew with the Jaguars now. I think Gardner Minshew is a better IQ guy just in general. He just knows the game very well.
You got to be very smart anyways to play quarterback.
Yeah, you definitely got to be smart.
Andrew Luck, one of the smartest NFL players ever, I think.
And probably shows that with Andrew Luck, with I'd say his decision to retire early and protect his body, shows how smart he actually is. And
he doesn't have to work anymore. He got hundreds of millions of dollars.
That's true. He's set. If I could have a fraction of that money,
that's 1%.
We wouldn't be doing this podcast.
Oh yeah, we would. I think we would.
Yeah, we'd be doing this for fun.
It'd still be fun.
We'd still be doing this for fun, but I would be. I don't know where I'd be. I'd probably leave you, man. I'd be gone. I'd be out of here.
Yeah, you'd be doing podcasts with somebody else, huh?
I wouldn't say that. I'd think of you.
Oh yeah.
Give you a shout out every now and again, possibly, but.
Is that it?
Maybe.
Okay, I'll take that.
Maybe a few $100
I'll take
here
that.
and there. You'll take that?
I'll take that.
I'll take that too.
Yeah, I'll take $1.
You'll take $1. Well, if you got $1, maybe you can place a bet on some of these games that we got coming up. Because to open things off, we do have Central Florida taking on Cincinnati, which is a pretty high-profile game in the AAC on Friday night. Anything could happen. What is your thoughts there, especially now that Cincinnati's had their loss?
I don't think this is going to be close. Central Florida, they're going to come out angry and just probably win by 40. That's what I see.
Yeah, that's what I saw in their last game against Connecticut. This is a way different monster with Cincinnati, of course. I think they're going to get a true test of some defense, possibly the best defense they've faced all season, especially with Stanford being down in the dumps. I don't think Pittsburgh's defense is really up to par. I think Cincinnati is one of those teams that people need to look out for more. I don't think a lot of people are watching them the way that they should be. So I think it could be closer, or at least closer for 3, maybe even 4 quarters. But I have to agree that eventually Central Florida does pull out, and that should always be a fun one in the bounce house. So, if moving on though to another big game that we got coming up, and a team where one is on the rise, the other one is falling down and desperate for a win. We've got Iowa taking on Michigan.
I feel like Michigan, they're going to continue to spiral out of control.
Okay.
I see this one as a blowout. Probably 42-7 or 42-14.
Okay. So this was Iowa. It was your upset pick, by the way.
This is my upset pick.
So is this every week that you've made an upset pick in the games that we've brought to the table?
Yeah.
It's confidence.
Yeah, very confident.
That is, and it's worked for the most part. I think there was only one that you
South Carolina, Missouri.
really jabbed there. But if I had the opportunity, I can tell you for certainty that would have been my upset pick as well. So I guess that obviously tells you that I believe that I was going to win this game. I don't know that it'll be a blowout. I think it might be a little bit closer. I think Michigan thankfully finally got a little bit of confidence last week playing Rutgers and putting up some points and having some
Iowa
practice.
and Rutgers are two totally different teams.
Right. Well, I'm thinking more of the confidence.
Oh, the confidence.
Just the confidence
okay.
alone. Absolutely not comparing Rutgers to Iowa because there is no comparison there. You're right about that. But yeah, Iowa's probably another one of those teams that are sneaky, real sneaky. Big Ten has a few teams that are sneaking around there. I think Minnesota, the team that nobody's talking about now.
They're undefeated,
Undefeated, yep, undefeated there in the West. Their only other team to really contend with there is Wisconsin. And then contending with Ohio State. Over in the East, I think Penn State, all of a sudden, a little bit sneaky, beating Maryland 59 to blank, a big zero. On the board
a
there.
couple weeks ago, we was thinking Maryland was.
We thought Maryland was gonna really run the table. It shows you how bad we judged that one.
Yeah, it was bad.
Win some, you lose some, I guess. But back to Iowa, I think they're a team that could have another good season, maybe 9 or even 10 wins again for the Hawkeyes. Yeah, absolutely. We do have a lot of good games though coming up. And there's one against Oklahoma State and Texas Tech that a lot of people probably not on their radar, but I'm sure you're thinking the same as I am that it should be.
Oh, yeah. Oklahoma State is going to win big, I think, again. Their offense.
That 3 blowouts?
Yeah, I got 3 blowouts.
That's 3 blowouts, huh?
Yeah. Oklahoma State's going to win big against Texas Tech. Texas Tech won't be able to keep up with them.
They're just
maybe I take that back. Maybe for a half they're gonna be going back and forth with scoring.
Okay.
And then Oklahoma late third quarter, early fourth quarter.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, 21 points.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad you said Oklahoma though because their game last week against Oklahoma for Texas Tech was the most disappointing I've seen in a team that I expected to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Sooners for a while. I think Oklahoma State, too. I think that they're going to – this might be closer to a blowout for me, the closest one that I've got. Maybe not on this list. I've got one coming up that I guarantee will be a blowout. But this, I don't think it'll be very close. If I could do a quick shout-out locally to some guys a guy that used to play for Oklahoma State, Mason Rudolph, getting his chance with the Steelers right now. I think he's gonna look. I think that was a
he's
steal.
From South Carolina too.
He's from South Carolina, and his brother, by the way, playing for Clemson. His little brother.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. His little brother playing for Clemson. So quick shout out to them. If a tidbit of information, if you're looking for another reason to watch this game, that might be one. Now, if you want a game that's closer to home, or closer especially to SEC country here, then we do have a good one. I think you said this is college game day, correct?
College
Between
game day.
Auburn and Florida. I think Auburn is a 3-point favorite in that game.
I think this is going to be closer than what most people think.
Okay, do tell.
Florida, they didn't look good against Kentucky, Miami, or pretty much anybody other than FCS opponents. But I think they're going to surprise Auburn a little bit. But at the end, in the fourth quarter, I think they're going to pull away Auburn. 3 points, like the line says, pretty much.
Okay, that sounded the whole thing to me. It sounded just like one of those like Lee Corso famous teasers for me when he's about to put on the headgear. Forget about it. I'm going with closer than the experts think, right? This is my game, as I alluded to earlier, that's the blowout. I don't see any reason that Florida even comes close to getting a win here against Auburn. I love what Auburn's been able to do with Bo Nix, and I think they're a contender again in the West. 3 people between Auburn, LSU, and Alabama. I'm glad to see some competitive spirit over there for once. And all in all, I don't like anything that I've seen with Florida. They're missing Felipe Franks for the rest of the season because of his injury against Kentucky. And to be completely honest with you, I was flabbergasted this year, as I am on most years, that Florida was ranked in the top 10. I don't think they deserve that top 10 ranking.
They don't. But I think...
You still think it'll be close?
I still think it's going to be close, but Auburn, I think they're going to come in a little bit cocky.
Okay.
and
I can see that.
probably going to get down early. I'll probably say about 10 or 14 points, and then Auburn's going to battle back. That's what I think.
Do you know the kickoff time for that game? I'm assuming it's at night.
Yeah, I think it is. No, it's 3:30.
3:30.
CBS.
Okay. If it was a noon kickoff, I would tell you that it would be close.
Mm-hmm.
And I know to a lot of people that might not seem like it makes a big difference, but I think it is.
Oh,
It's
Florida
one of
Heat.
those sleepy kicks in the Florida
Mm-hmm.
Heat. Yeah.
Swamp. It's
swamp.
loud there.
Yeah, it surely is. And I think they're a team right now that has higher confidence maybe than what they should have.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly because it seems year in and year out, they keep getting that praise that they probably shouldn't, I believe. And they could.
I mean, they're undefeated, so you got to give them props still.
I don't know.
A little bit at least.
Normally, there's a long list of teams that are undefeated right now that I
Uh-huh.
give props to before Florida. I give
Yeah,
props
that's
to SMU before I would Florida right now.
That's a little bit far.
That's your
Really?
pick, man. That's your guys. SMU's your guys.
I know, but I still don't think SMU would beat Florida.
Well, I didn't say they beat Florida. I just said I'd give them more props for what they've done to be undefeated against Florida. I didn't say they beat Florida.
But who has SMU played, though?
TCU.
You got me there, but still.
Well,
Anybody else?
I'm telling you, I don't like what I see from Florida, and I'm worried that again that we're getting another Florida Michigan
Mm-hmm.
bowl game because they're both I think gonna disseminate, just
Mm-hmm.
completely fall apart.
What do you think the record's going to be for Florida?
I don't think it'll be as bad as Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I think Michigan's looking more at 6-6, 7-5, that general area.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that one.
I think Florida could end up coming in at like 8-4 just because of the fact that they play in the East.
Who do you think they're going to lose to?
I think they're going to lose to Auburn this week. I think they're going to lose to, it's hard to say, Georgia for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Possibly they could slip one. They could slip one to Missouri. They could slip one to Carolina. They could slip. I'm sure they'll slip a couple of them, and I'll have to double check who some of the teams they are that they play.
LSU.
LSU. Okay, yeah, that's a guarantee then. So there's 3. They slip either to South Carolina or Missouri. I think is a guarantee as well, and that's 8-4. And if they slip both of those, that'd be 7-5. So I'm probably going to say 8-4 for the Gators, which is highly disappointing for a team that does come in ranked in the top 10. You expect them to do
at least
better.
9-3, 10-2.
You expect them to be able to contend for the East. Unfortunately, I think even 8-4 might be second place in the East.
Yeah,
which is
pretty sad.
Yeah, it's gone downhill big time. In the
there's
SEC.
more. Georgia's more of the front runner every year.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is fighting for second pretty much.
Right, yeah, right. We have got to that point, which I would like to see some more competitiveness for sure. Absolutely. But we will go back to the SEC and the SEC East in particular in a little bit. But first, I do want to get to a game in the ACC, which has been just as bad, especially in the Coastal.
Yeah.
And 2 teams from the Coastal that are fighting for a very important win between Virginia Tech and Miami.
I got Miami. 3 points.
Okay. The reasons?
Man, this is going to be an ugly game. I just think Miami's not going to be as ugly.
Okay. I have to agree with that full-heartedly. I think actually, Miami does have it at home, so
that's what tipped me pretty much.
Yeah, that might be the edge that I'm leaning towards.
Even though it's not much of a home game.
I could probably, because they don't show up. It's
home field advantage.
It's disappointing
for real
the way the fans do in Miami, because if you looked at a team like Nebraska last week, who's getting blown out by Ohio State, everybody stayed and still ready to raise the balloons at the end of the fourth quarter when they finally got a touchdown. I mean, that to me is something that's magical to see. It's something that one of the reasons I love college football, because you don't get that anywhere else.
Nope.
You don't get that in the NFL. You really don't get that in any other sport.
Nope.
So that's something that I'd like to see. And I don't, like you said, I don't think a lot of people are going to show up for this game, especially with those two struggling more than they should have. It was a bad loss against Duke for Virginia Tech. And just for the home basis, I'd probably go with Miami too.
Miami.
Yeah. And then lastly, of the slate of games, we have another couple of teams that are struggling pretty bad and are going to make a good game out of it just because of how bad they are between Vandy and Ole Miss. Who you got?
This is gonna be ugly too, like
Yep.
you said.
Yep.
They're both struggling, but I got Vandy in this one.
Okay.
I think their offense is just a tiny bit better than Ole Miss's.
That would be
Because
another.
Ole Miss, they're pretty much lost all of their wide receiver talent.
Yeah. That'd be another upset, actually. It might surprise you, but Ole Miss is favored by 7,
Huh.
which, yeah,
I mean,
is a big number.
Yeah, that really is.
That is a really big number to give for this game if you're placing bets.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely take Vandy on the +7. I don't think I'm going to take Vandy in the game. I think Ole Miss is going to win it. Maybe at home, another factor. No real clue there as to why, but it's just another flip the coin game, and I'm going to go with Ole Miss. And with that, we can bring us to the end of our segment. We try to get the upset specials out at the end of each segment. As you know, we missed last week's, and we are sorry about that because I like giving you these guarantees. I really do. You gave the guarantee of Iowa already.
In a blowout.
Yeah. And because you took Iowa, I had a bit of a struggle with who I was going to go with this week. But I'm going to stay with some of the conferences that I know the best, going to the ACC. And I'm going to actually go with Boston College. They're roughly a 7, it might be closer to 4. It's somewhere in 4 to 7 range. Underdog against Louisville. And Louisville at home, I think, has looked fairly decent this year.
They put up a fight against Notre Dame.
They did put up a fight in a game that they really could have won against Notre Dame, and I think they've looked good in some of their matchups. And I actually am leaning because of that reason as to why they're going to do bad in Boston College. If that makes any logical sense at all,
Play good and play bad.
Yeah, they get enough confidence to say, hey, this is the year that we can beat what has in the past been a pretty stout Boston College team. They're probably overconfident going into this one, and my guaranteed upset pick is going to be Louisville. But with that, that's going to do it for our show today. We thank y'all again for the support. It's been growing steadily over the past few weeks, and we're happy to see it continue to keep growing. If you do like what you see, even if you don't, hit the like button on YouTube, subscribe, and follow us on Twitter at Fumble Fever, and find us on YouTube at Fumble Fever as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.